Hello, everyone. Welcome to our CMDB workshop today. We'll just give it a few more minutes for folks to join. How's everybody recovering from knowledge a week ago? All right, we have 11 people on the call. We'll just give it a few moments.
Hello, Eddie.
Hey. Oh, fantastic. I can hear you now, Elvis.
Looks like my mic and my headphones are not working, but I'll be back.
Awesome. Let's get started. I think we have a good number of people on the webinar, and let's jump right into it. Feel free to comment at any time if you have any questions, if you have any specific scenarios you want to see. Definitely send those messages in, and we can get back to you at the end of the call. Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name's Eddie. One of the co-founders of Echelon. I lead the AI team here at Echelon. I'm here with Alvis Chen, who's our certified master architect. He leads our ServiceNow delivery team, and spent a lot of time on CMDB, and that's what we're going to cover today. CMDB on Autopilot, running ServiceNow CMDB with AI agents. We're going to be go over a quick overview of Echelon. For those who are not familiar with Echelon, we're also going to be show you a few case studies of how we've worked with some of our customers in the past. And specifically on CMDB, right? Elvis is going to drive a live demo on some of the use cases on CMDB. First, it is using Echelon Agent to handle discovery and service mapping logs. Second is running a CSDM assessment, right, using Echelon. Last but not least, technical management service, offering created using Echelon agents. So let's dive right in. So what is Echelon, right? If we have to explain Echelon in one line, is enterprises run their service now with Echelon. More specifically, the Echelon team has decades of experience in enterprise AI and the ServiceNow domain expertise. We build our AI agents that can handle the design, the build, the test, the entire ServiceNow development lifecycle, right, for your instance. And that starts from architecting, right, designing a solution, right, helping you with making that architectural decision, recognizing patterns on your existing instance, right, help you plan the migration. Echelon can also handle the building, right? Setting up the configuration, generating the code, right? Generating the business rule across various components on your ServiceNow platform. Echelon can help you modernize your instance, right? We understand a lot of customers have a legacy instance they wish to migrate out, or they simply want to migrate from, let's say, workflow to Flow Designer. Echelon can help with that. Echelon can also help you with a lot of the KTLO tasks, right? Such as maintenance, bug fixes, troubleshooting, help you with on-call, incident triaging, and upgrades. And here are some of the modules Echelon supports, and this list just keeps on going. Every 2 weeks, Echelon is able to add a new module and upskill that module. That is the job of our in-house certified master architects and technical architects, right? They train Echelon to function and work just like them. Some of the case studies, we're live with quite a few large enterprises, United Healthcare, HubSpot, Foxes. They're seeing a ton of value using Echelon, including faster go live time, right, when implementing a new module or migrating from an existing module. For teams who are under capacity constraints, they use Echelon to get more work done. For customers who are spending a lot of dollars on managed service contract, Echelon actually can be the way to help you replace that contract and save on your spending. And Echelon is already live at many Fortune 500 and customers and large enterprises across different industries, such as financial services, such as manufacturing, retailing, and professional services. With that, I will pass it to Elvis, who's going to be giving a live demo of some of the CMDB capabilities.
All right. Eddie, can you hear me okay? Can everyone else hear me okay? Just want to thumbs up. Awesome. So let me start sharing my screen. All right, let's start sharing my screen here and then remove this as the stage. All right. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Eddie, thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, so let's first start off with a question to the general audience. Has any of us deployed automated discovery and service mapping and experienced the pain of debugging discovery logs? If so, no, in the chat, reply yes. So I myself, I'm going to definitely reply yes. Eddie, let me know when the chat is coming in. Give it a few seconds here. All right. Sorry, I'm not able to see it up chat, but I assume most of us say yes. If you're deploying discovery, deploying service mapping, most likely than not, you're going to run into a lot of discovery, pattern logs, service mapping errors, whether it's credential errors, firewall errors, whether that specific credential can run on that command or not. So many countless errors, which would take us a long time to debug. So, I've definitely been there, deploying discovery, service mapping, no easy task, requires a lot of debugging, combing through logs, looking at credentials, firewall fixes, work with multiple technology teams, back and forth meetings for, each and every single one of those discovery errors you run into. But we all know discovery, service mapping is the preferred way to keeping your CMDB updated and to achieve that CSDM crawl phase, which is all the automated discovery and service mapping stuff. So today, I wanted to show you how Echelon can help you with both CSDM crawl phase as well as the CSDM walk phase. So let's start with CSDM crawl phase. This is where we're in the middle of discovery, of deploying discovery, mid-server setup, credentials are working great, but let's just say, hey, we ran into our first discovery error with Solaris. And for those of us who have debugged the Solaris logs, you know how painful that can be. So let's see where Echelon can help us with. So I have Echelon shown on the screen here. Hopefully you guys can still see the interface. For those of us who's joining us for the first time, never seen Echelon's interface, once you log in, on the left side, similar to other LLMs, you have kind of like a history of chats that you're working through. You can definitely multitask. You can see I have a lot of chats going on right here. And on the right side are suggestions of things that you can do with Echelon. You can ask it stuff. You can help you plan projects. You can ask it to build something that you design. You can ask it to test or generate ATF tests, and even shortcuts called curated workflows, where you can migrate a workflow to a flow in just a few minutes. So let's go back to our main use case here. I have an issue with discovery of Solaris, right? So I'm just going to say here is a discovery log I am trying to discover Solaris. There is an issue. Help me find the fix, right? And then I am going to upload a sample discovery log. So I have to spell Solaris right. Here is a discovery log. I'm trying to discover Solaris. There's an issue. Help me find the issue. Sorry, talking and typing. Let's see where that goes. So one of the things that we wanted to show you is, you can definitely iterate with Echelon. Once you type in your prompt, it shows up on the left side as part of your history. And you don't have to stay on this chat. You don't have to be, you can definitely multitask. So if I want to switch to another chat right here, I can definitely do so. This chat requires my input. And you can see kind of like the status updates of each one of the chats that you initiated with Echelon. Another thing I wanted to show you is, we'll let it run for a little bit. This should only take maybe a minute or so. Echelon, we designed Echelon to not be, a black box where you don't know what's happening right now. You can fully see, if I click into each one, what is happening with Echelon, right? So right now, it's basically, combing through your logs. Hey, good, I have a full log. Let me trace through the execution sequence clearly. It understands the 4 discovery phases: scan, classification, Shazam, all of that stuff. And it's able to go in and you're able to see what it's doing. So within 1 minute, within 1 minute, I was able to find the root cause of why I can't, there's an issue with Solaris. So one of the very first things it told me is, hey, the root cause is actually there's a pattern in Solaris, and it's trying to DMI decode, right? So it's trying to run that command. That command is not found on that server, right? It's not a pseudo permission. It's just not found. And what is the impact of this? What if we don't fix this? Well, you're not going to get baseboard manufacturer. You're not going to get OEM string. You're not going to get memory slot details. And it's able to give you that resolution immediately. Well, for us to fix this, I think we should ask our infrastructure team to install DEMI decode, right? So that's one of the resolution. You have a second solution is maybe you don't install it, but you should accept that you won't be able to get these specific fields. So you can imagine, all within 1 minute, I was able to debug a full discovery logs, right? So you can think how long that usually takes. Usually, when you debug a discovery log, it takes like a good few days to comb through everything. Any questions so far in the chat? All right. Another thing I wanted to mention here is right now is I uploaded the discovery log, but we can definitely connect to your instance, and whenever a discovery error shows up in discovery kind of like tasks, you can ask Echelon can automatically kind of like run this exact same prompt and give you that solution. And you can even tell it to generate a PDF or generate a docx that you can give to your engineering team, and they can look through it and know exactly what to do. Maybe just run this command to install that specific package. All right, so I'm gonna change things up a little bit. So we were let's just say we're doing discovery, doing service mapping. We're using Echelon to help us debug all of these logs. We fixed everything. That's CSDM crawl, right? So let's move on to CSDM walk. Let's just say, hey, we're moving towards CSDM walk phase, which is all of the manual stuff, all of the governance and CMDB CI ownership records that we have to create within your instance. Let's focus on that stage. This usually involves CSDM experts creating hundreds of records, if not thousands of records, to assign that ownership to each CI application service that's discovered, right? So let's just say I have a spreadsheet right here. Let me find it, and I'll show you exactly what I am doing. Right here. You know what? I'll save some time. So basically, I prompt Echelon, hey, I want to move towards CSDM walk stage. I need to put in all these things, right? So I have this big spreadsheet of potentially technical service offering, and all of the dynamic CI groups that I may need to create all those ownership groups and governance, right? So it's not in the best format. It just says, I have a department called computing, and maybe this group should manage all Windows servers. I have a networking department, and maybe this Cisco group should manage all Cisco gears, right? So not the best format, not the most complete data, but let's see what Echelon does. I'm able to prompt it and says, hey, help me map this spreadsheet to technical management service offering dynamic CI groups, CMDB groups in ServiceNow based on CSDM. So after, let's just say 1 minute, it's able to correctly map everything for me. It's able to understand that, hey, with this spreadsheet, for us to do this full string of records of governance, I need to create technical management service, the service offering, and then create the CMDB rel CI relationship to the dynamic CI group, the dynamic CI group, the CMDB group, the encoded queries. Only then can all of these kind of like ownership groups managed by group can sync to individual CIs, right? So lots of records to manually create, and very, very prone to human errors, right? Let's just say I don't use this managed by, or managed by or manages relationship. I don't map it to the right, dynamic CI group, or my encoded query for the CMDB is incorrect. Now you have, because it's so manual, prone to human errors, you don't have CIs that are properly managed. With Echelon, it's able to detect all this. It's able to give us suggestions and say, hey, look, based on your spreadsheet, maybe I should create 4 technical management services group. And within each one of those technical management service group, I have 7 service offerings that are tied together. And then from there, we have dynamic CI groups, and then even give us suggested CMDB queries to kind of, CMDB queries to cover the full scope of what each group manages. So for example, Windows Server, you want install status equals 1, operational status equals 1. Maybe for the Cisco one, you want something like Cisco as the manufacturer, all of that stuff that we would have to manually create. So it even knows the build process for us. So phase 1, build this technical service. Phase 2, the service offering, the group, the query base, and all the CMDB rel CI relationships. So it's able to understand all of that. And because Echelon is connected directly to our instance, it knows that we don't have any of this. It's able to query your technical management service and all those 4 or 5 different tables, and we don't have any records created. So basically the plan is, let's build all of this. Let's create those 7 user groups. Let's create those 4 technical services, and so on and so forth, and link it all together properly, not prone to human error, because it always knows what the CSDM 5.0 documentation says and all of the relationships that are required to link all of this properly. And at the end of all this, basically, all of your CIs are now fully managed within ServiceNow. It has ownerships, it has governance. Any questions with this? Any feedback, questions, Eddie?
I haven't seen any questions on the live stream because there's a slight lag.
So it looks like my mic is not working again. All right. You know what? Let me switch back to my computer speakers. There's one last use case I wanted to show everyone. Let me stop sharing my screen. Okay, so let me open this up and start sharing my screen again. Okay, share. So here's another thing I wanted to share with everyone. We're still working on this, but You can imagine usually CSDM 5.0 or slash 4.0, if you're living in the past, is to do assessment. It takes a long time. You have to query a lot of records, manually go into instance, look through many different things, the 3 Cs, see if you have compliance, see how stale your CMDB is, see if you have ownership, you have technical service offering, the full thing I just showed you. Do you have lifecycle management? Do you have all the right relationships, attestation, certification, and so on and so forth, to be able to do that full CSDM assessment? With Echelon, we prompt it, because it's connected to your instance. We can just tell it, hey, perform a CSDM 5.0 assessment for me. And what you get back is a full report. And it's a very long report of kind of like the 12 pillars on what we consider as a good good CMDB following CSDM. So we have things like the 3 Cs: correctness, completeness, compliance, governance, lifecycle, integration hygiene, are you using the IRE, attestations, all of those things, and even things to remediate. So, maybe you should configure orphan rules for your principal CSDM CI classes. Maybe you don't have any principal CI classes configured. So all of that is in a single report generated within an hour. And you can keep generating this report every time, maybe weekly or maybe even monthly, just to see where you are at in terms of all the different phases in CSDM, whether you're crawl, walk, run, or fly. All right. Any questions with this before I end the demo? All right, then. Back to you, Eddie.
Yeah, I think there's some questions from the audience. I'm not able to see them right now, but give me 1 second. I would love to answer those questions. Okay, so we have a question from Bingdu. Bingdu, nice to see you. Can Echelon review existing services and CIs and model a CMDB with a proposal to convert it to a CSDM model? I'll leave that to you, Alvis.
Convert it to, sorry, what was that last part?
Convert it to a CSDM model.
Yes, so because it has full visibility in your instance, whatever you have in there, you can ask it, hey, I have this specific records or these row of records or string of records, maybe am I following CSDM? Can I convert it to from maybe application service to maybe another service instance? Whatever it may be, you can definitely ask Echelon to do that for you.
Awesome. We have another question from Niaz. What is needed to integrate Echelon to ServiceNow Discovery?
Yeah, so Echelon connects to your instance through OAuth. So all you need to do is create a service account in your instance, granted admin or discovery admin, and delegated developer.
Yeah, Niaz, happy to find some time with you, right? Feel free to use this QR code in my wallpaper to find the time. Would love to understand your need and help you set up with Echelon. And I see a follow-up question from Bingdu. Will this work only if we have ServiceNow Discovery, or can it help identify issues with other discovery sources too?
Yeah, so not sure the specifics of that, but yes, you can definitely identify other issues with, let's just say, service graph connectors. Maybe you have a SCCM kind of like service graph connector. It's not able to detect maybe servers or desktops devices. You can ask it, hey, based on this out of the box implementations, why is it not able to detect all these specific servers, and it's going to maybe look at your SQL queries that are out of the box, maybe adjust them if you need to. I know in the past, a lot of times we have clients that have to adjust their SQL queries and all of those queries to be able to pull back the right data, because maybe their databases in SCCM might be different than what it is out of the box.
We have one more question from Curtis around governance, right? Elvis,
Yes.
how did Echelon adhere to customers' governance and change process?
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of governance, I'm going to assume the development governance is, I'm kind of going to go with that. So Echelon's, developed with, all of our CMA/CTA training. It's going to able to, every time you ask it a solution or even build something, right? It's going to give you that CMA/CTA solution in terms of, the best practices, making sure you're not using the poor practices. In addition to that, everything's either contained in an update set or a scoped app. In terms of the manual governance parts, we highly recommend, treat Echelon as, your developer, right? Always, review your developer's code before you push it up to, staging or production. In addition to that, every time we create something with Echelon, there's always a human in the loop approval process. And let's just say we're creating those technical management services. We weren't able to go super deep in that, but every time it creates something or it asks you first and then you approve it. Hopefully that answers in terms of governance.
Awesome. Let me take a look if there's any other questions.
I wanted to share my screen again. I think there was something wrong when I shared my screen for the CSDM assessment. So I'm just going to share that again for everyone to take a look. Yeah, so here it is. Sorry about that. This is that CSDM baseline assessment that was fully generated by Echelon. And you can see it has all the different maturity dimensions, correctness, compliance, freshness, ownership, lifecycle, integration, hygiene, attestations. Right? So if you can scroll into each section, you even have top recommendations that you should be doing. Hopefully you guys see my screen now.
Yep, I think it's now it's pulling up. We have one more question coming in.
Yes.
When ingesting multiple sources of information to populate the CMDB, how do you dedupe augment information that may be missing from one source for another to create a more complete record?
Yeah, so Echelon can definitely help you build those kind of like integrations that fall, that actually uses the IRE. But Echelon can also help you configure, CMDB 360 to ensure, you have the right precedence rules that, let's just say, ServiceNow Discovery is, precedence number one. It's able to write to all these fields. And maybe you have info blocks, it's, number two, and it's able to only maybe write to the IP address table, and this takes precedence over discovery or whatnot. So you can definitely tell Echelon, and it's able to help you configure all that within the instance.
Cool. Any other questions? One more question from Shubham. Do we have any free trial or similar to PDI for Echelon?
Yeah, for sure. Eddie, maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah. If you see the QR code next to my wallpaper, that's the link to sign up for Echelon. You can connect to your PDI, connect to your sandbox. We have one more question coming in. Does Echelon help us find out the potential issues in mid servers and auto remediate them? Maybe Elvis, you want to talk a little bit about some of the troubleshooting, Solaris examples.
Yeah, so it depends on what that error is. Echelon is not able to go in directly to your mid-server infrastructure and pull that mid-server, I guess, log or agent log. It's not able to go in directly and say, oh, from the mid server going to this server has this firewall that's blocking it, because we don't have access to your specific infrastructure. But for things like configuring the mid server, yes. So like for example, if you accidentally configure mid server capabilities where you turn off, I don't know, network gear discovery, Echelon is able to say, hey, on your mid server ABC, that capability needs to turn on before you can actually discover, network gear.
Do you happen to have a example, maybe existing run you want to show on some of the troubleshooting? Any? All right. Any other questions? Those are very great questions. I think actually, when people stop by our booth at Knowledge, right, we're actually able to show them a lot of those questions via live demo. So if any of this resonates to you, if any of the questions you have we did not get to cover, feel free to book a time with us, and we're more than happy to show you a live example on how we can help with that with your use case. Oh, and I see Shubham already signed up. Thank you, and congrats on getting your free Echelon trial started. Cool, awesome. So, if you find Echelon, find this demo interesting, would love to spend more time with you. Right, happy to spend 30 minutes with you, understand your platform, understand your challenge, understand your roadmap for 2026 around CMDB and also beyond. And here are a few things Echelon can help, right? If you have an in-house team, you're thinking upskill them, right? Let folks on your team do more. The Echelon platform would be the great choice. Echelon can also help with new module implementation and managed service, if that's something you guys are currently leveraging, and the other partners. And the best way to get in touch with us is to scan this QR code or simply go to echelonai.com and use the link to book a demo with us, or simply sign up for a trial, connect to your PDI, and see Echelon yourself in action. And thank you everyone for joining us. I think around 50 of you joined us, and thank you for a great discussion. And we are really excited to learn more about your challenges and work with you to solve them together. And remember, we have 2 more webinars happening, one next week around catalog item and another one the week after. So stay tuned. We will follow up with you guys and making sure to send those invites to you all. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.